It's been reported this morning that Manchester United are closing in on a deal for RB Leipzig striker Benjamin Šeško. Newcastle had a 78 million bid accepted for Šeško. However, it is believed, because this is what seems to be happening this transfer window, the player seems to want to go to Manchester United. I mean, it really is bizarro world stuff, Lukey Moore. People talk a good game about wanting to play in the Champions League, but when they get that bloody biscuit dangled in front of them, they don't want it. They want to hang out with miserable Ruben Amorim, don't they?
Yeah. Have you guys seen the horror TV series called From?
I haven't.
No, but I'm aware of it.
Vish put me onto it. It's not Stephen King, but it's kind of Stephen King in style.
Right.
And people are stuck in this village where they're haunted overnight by these kind of otherworldly beings. And no matter what exit to the village they try and take to leave, they always come back to where they started from. They can't leave. It's kind of like Newcastle United trying to sign a player.
Yeah.
I did not see this plot twist coming. That those of us who aren't perhaps in favour of, petro-dollar states owning football clubs in the Premier League might well have a little smiles on themselves, knowing that a team like Newcastle United can have all the money in the world, but still finding it absolutely impossible to sign a single player.
Yeah,
with the exception of Anthony Elanga, of course, who's somehow had the wool pulled over his eyes. Maybe the exit on the motorway up towards Manchester was closed, so he had to go to Newcastle.
Yeah,
but other than that, no one's doing it.
He didn't want to take that toll road and sort of decide where it's going to be.
He used to play for United as well. If any of them were going to go back there,
surely if anyone is not going to go back there, it's someone who's been there before and seen all this.
True, actually, yeah.
He's managed to escape
it's like
the
From
town
again, isn't it?
From, isn't
I'm not going back there again.
Yeah.
Not
Do
worth
people
it.
sort of need, do you know, when I think Newcastle United signed Rob Lee, Kevin Keegan managed to tell Rob Lee that Newcastle was closer to London than Manchester? Maybe you just need to do a little bit of this subterfuge.
Can I come in on the Rob Lee thing? Because I don't think it's something we've discussed before, and I think it's a big oversight of ours here at the Ramble.
Okay.
Is Rob Lee the only football player, or he's certainly the most notable football player, where if you're talking about him, you simply have to say both his names?
Oh, yeah.
No one just says Lee.
Yeah, no, are there any good Lees? Are there a lot of Lees in football, though? I mean, he's got to be the best, most high-performing Lee in world football, surely.
Lee Chapman.
Yeah, but it's not
second
name,
surname, though.
But if I was to say Dewsbury-Hall, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Rob Lee has to be said like Rob Lee. People listening out there will tell us, is there any other player that we have to always say their full name for?
Yeah. Franny Lee?
Just stop.
Sammy
Forget
Lee.
the Lee thing. Forget the Lee thing. I'm talking about names generally.
There are, to be fair, there are a lot of more decorated, better Lees in football. I just realised he won absolutely nothing. So yeah, I mean,
I'm not talking about Benjamin Šeško. I've already described what I think of him as a player. We've done it 14 times. We don't have to do it again. Jim can do it.
Why can't Newcastle United sign a football player? I think we spoke about this when the Piff Posse took over Newcastle United. I think I made the point at the time that there's no guarantee that this will work. Like they're not guaranteed to get all the right pieces in to make this a success. And the sort of the craziness in the boardroom really has sort of cost Eddie Howe like a lot.
What kind of
targets
craziness
this
is it in the
season.
boardroom? Someone's brought like a little miniature piano in.
Yeah,
someone's
dogs.
juggling with the apples but eating them at the same time. What's happening in there?
Yeah, I don't.
Someone's
Well,
brought a dog in. Yeah,
he said they just the setup at. The setup at Newcastle United just seems to be a little bit chaotic. Like, you've got a manager who kind of wants to do everything, wants to sign everyone, he wants to coach everyone, and you can't get away with doing that in a Champions League setup.
You can't get away with do that.
You can't get away with do that. Stop picking on me. Do you want to host? You can host.
No,
I've seen
I like
you.
it. I
bloody
love
host.
sitting here
I'll
sniping.
come down there.
Yeah.
Sniping with my fists.
This does seem like
You'll never
a
find me,
slightly-
Dawson. There's 54 booths in this building.
This does seem like a slightly different example than that, though, Pete, doesn't it? It seems that Šeško has very much chosen Old Trafford over St James's Park.
Yeah, which I simply don't believe, Jim. It's just not a thing that a human would do.
That does seem baffling to those of us who don't work in the football industry. But, I mean, I'm very surprised that it looks like Man United are about to pull this off. In terms of that their attack, it is been a phenomenal window for them. They probably need some defensive reinforcements as well, but obviously they've got a lot of players that they can shift and perhaps use to fund that coming in. So I mean, it's a huge coup. And the thing I find interesting about Šeško, and why I thought actually it was a particularly good fit for Newcastle, other than his physicality, which would be kind of consistent with their style, is that I think he and Ekitike really are the two players who are the closest in profile in terms of their potential to Isak when he came into Newcastle. So you think, that's exactly the type of player you need to be targeting to replace a player like that. And I'm kind of staggered at the trouble they're having. It's probably going to be Nicholas Jackson. I know I keep kind of linking him to anyone who's not getting their first choice.
No one has ever talked about a single other person more often than you and Nicholas Jackson. It's never happened.
Just because he's available.
You talk about him more than I talk about fucking
your wife.
Neil Young with P.
Yes, he will be present at the first day of school and graduation. He's obsessed. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I think with this final move, these I've said it every single show for the past 5 weeks. Like these strikers, these deals just take a long time to get through. And if he goes to Man United, I just get the sense that if the club were ever going to sort of pull rank and just sort of say, look, you're staying at the club for another season, I think this would be the situation. And I think that might cost Isak his move.
I think they'll have to at this point.
I like that just at the sheer terror of the news that Benjamin Šeško might join Man United, Rasmus Højlund turned into the most Mancunian bloke of all time to try and endear himself to the fans. Did you see it? Have you heard how he speaks now?
No, I haven't heard him.
He speaks like he's from
Oasis,
It's amazing. Yeah, true. Yeah, that's true. He speaks so Mancunian. It's like he's almost saying, I'm Man United through and through though. You can't drop me. I'm a local lad.
It's Mank Girl Summer, and I'm the biggest Mank
He's having
of
a
all.
Mank Girl Summer. He is.
Yeah, he's having a Mank Girl Summer. Elsewhere, Everton have agreed a £28 million deal to sign Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall from Chelsea. Fulham were interested in him, but he has opted to join Everton. I mean, it's an interesting situation for Chelsea. They've had a really good window, but most of the kind of situations have sort of been outgoings. They could probably afford to buy a women's team and put them back in the club. Maybe that would be quite good.
Imagine, you think Newcastle United fans feel upset that they can't get someone in because they've chosen Man United. Imagine someone choosing Everton over you.
Yeah.
That's a big one, isn't it?
Yeah, when they already live in West London. Nah.
Yeah,
Nah.
and the managers come out and said literally no player wants to play for this club. Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall stepped up.
Yeah, I mean, Moyes needed bodies, and he needed sort of to replace the industry and goals from sort of midfield of Decore. But they're kind of. He obviously had a very, very good season before last, but his last one wasn't all that good.
Well, he's not. I mean, the thing is, Pete, he's not really played. Like he's been. I think it's something like 2 Premier League starts for Chelsea last season. Definitely been a victim of the way that Chelsea have been doing things in recent years. He featured a fair amount in the Europa Conference League, which of course they won. He made a contribution to that. Scored against Djurgårdens. I think he scored against Benfica as well. But that's a competition that simply has not got any impact at the moment. No one really watches it. They'll be taking a loss on him, but I suppose the way they do the transfer dealings means that won't be felt particularly badly. I think it's a good signing for Everton. They need, I completely agree with you, Pete. They need numbers. Moyes has said he wants 10 players and he wants Premier League experience. Well, he's going to get one player there and he's going to get a bit of Premier League experience. I think the other area Everton have looked into is trying to pick up Tyler Dibling from Southampton, which I think is another really good idea. Tyler Dibling is one of the only bright spots of Southampton's seasons last year. It was inevitable he's going to move on at some point because clearly he's a Premier League quality youngster and he'll want to stay in the top flight. How good is he going to be? We don't know because Southampton were just so shockingly bad last season, but he has definitely been someone that a lot of teams like the look of. So that's a nice stepping stone for him, I think. He won't necessarily be demanding things like European football at the age he is. Yeah. So it feels like a nice way back into the top flight for him and a nice landing spot. Jim, I don't know if you feel the same.
Yeah, I think obviously he's got a lot of potential, but it's difficult to truly judge his level, as you say, because they had such a difficult season, and it might just be that he was a bright spark in a terrible team who was held back by that, and it might also be the case that it's very easy to overrate him just because he looked like a bright spark in such a terrible team. What I find really interesting about this transfer is that Everton have had a £40 million bid rejected for him, and then Southampton went back with a counter offer, which is £45 million plus £5 million in achievable add-ons, and I think possibly a sell-on clause as well. And it's like, is it like bring your child to work day in the negotiation team. It's like, that's surely not how it works, is it? No, actually, why don't you come back with a much, much better deal for us with like loads of extra stuff you've not offered? Then maybe we'll think about it.
That is a negotiation, though, isn't it? I mean, that's what you do, surely.
I have no idea. It just seems a little...
Are you trying to buy a house at the moment? I'm worried for you now.
About 5 minutes before we started, it was like, sorry, I've just got to pause the recording because there's problems. There's problems with the mortgage. There's always problems with the mortgage, though, isn't there, Jim?
Yeah, it's boring, isn't it?
It's
really boring.
Difficult situation. But I mean, you do sort of think from Tyler's sort of perspective, what would you prefer? What do you think the best seasoning for how old is he, 19, something like that? The best seasoning for a player of that age? Would you just fancy like a year absolutely whipping everyone in the Championship? That wouldn't be a bad little
I think
task, would it?
Do you know what? I don't think it necessarily always works like that. I think you play to the level you're at.
Right.
I mean, clearly players, you do get examples of players that are maybe far too good for the Championship, but you could easily get bogged down in what is a really busy season, relentless like turnover of games, and perhaps you pick up injuries because it's pretty intense and all the rest of it. And I think if you're a player of that age, I think he is 19, you clearly in training every day want to be surrounded by the very best players. So to him, I imagine he'd rather do 15 Premier League games next season at a big club in the Premier League than do 50 games at Southampton in the Championship, which could be tough for them next season given what they went through last season. So I think in reality,
his stock's never been
clearly
higher.
He wants to move on. And also, I mean, imagine that. Imagine part of the reason he's going is because he wants to go, right? I mean, I said that at the top of this. I don't think he wants to be hanging around the Championship because you can get easily forgotten about.
Yeah, true. West Ham are in advance. I mean, this show is going to be just transfer after transfer. Things
it's just
are really
a smorgasbord of transfers.
Really,
that I don't care
a proper
about.
piquete of transfers. I mean, people are really moving quickly because they just need. Everyone's sort of coming back from their kind of ill-fated in many different situations, sojourns to the Far East and America and stuff, and now they're just sort of coming back and bedding in new players. But yes, West Ham are in advanced talks to sign goalkeeper John from Botafogo. He does have two names, but I think John will be fine. That will
John Victor.
John Victor. He will be fine for the Premier League season.
Sounds like a Spitfire pilot's call sign.
It does. That's true, yes. Where that John Textor cash is going to go from Botafogo, we just don't know. It's like uncut gems. He's sort of moving money around all over the place. It's very, very stressful. But, I mean, it's worth reminding ourselves that West Ham have been looking for a goalkeeper for a good couple of months now, and they've
reached crisis point. If you watched them the other night,
they've reached crisis point, and now they're in for John. And about 2 days ago, he did a lovely sort of basic pass to one of the opposing players against Botafogo. So keep an eye. He looks like an incredible shot stopper, but he could also be a one-off man mental, as they say. So yeah, very, very enjoyable. They're also reportedly West Ham. This is not Botafogo, but you just don't know. They're interested in Chelsea's Raheem Sterling as well. Fulham and Crystal Palace have also expressed interest in signing him because he wants to stay in London. The scene is so typically Raheem. So we'll see how that one pans out. Jim, if you were a Raheem Sterling, where would you go?
I would follow the Willian Highway. Having had a terrible season at Arsenal and then go and have a really good season at Fulham. I think that's the there's proof that works if you believe in such things. So I would absolutely do that. I mean, Palace would be good as well. I understand why he want to stay in London at this point. He probably just kind of feels settled in that aspect of his life, so he doesn't want to disrupt it. I also think we have to actually just acknowledge what a service Chelsea do to the transfer window, because they're basically Westfield, aren't they? Like, it's a bit overwhelming. It's not cheap, but there's massive variety, and if you know what you want when you go in there, you can get what you need. Like, it's ridiculous. They are a one-stop shop for absolutely anything you can think of. The player section on their website might as well have an option where you can just bid, just do it all online. It is just relentless.
I've never been more convinced in my life that Raheem Sterling going to West Ham would be a failure.
Yeah,
I've never been more convinced about any signing.
You reckon?
Oh, mate. Yeah. Trust me.
Like him and I'm just sort of thinking like they're quite light up top and they don't really need another kind of like.
You having another dig at Callum Wilson?
Well, Callum Wilson can't stay fit. Raheem Sterling's not the most kind of able and willing to move around these days. It's
to be fair, Pete. It's not that he doesn't run or doesn't put the effort in. It genuinely seems that his technique has deserted him. There's a theory, isn't there, that once you hit about 500 games at the top level, then like your game suffers a lot, and he is at that point.
Did you see the Liverpool Twitter page is going absolutely crazy because one of their footballers ran with the ball and scored?
I saw that.
And basically they talked about it as if he'd invented running.
It was using his right foot to control the ball and using his left foot to balance.
That's just having two legs.
Yeah,
that is just having
running.
2 legs.
What's the alternative
must
there?
They keep doing this?
Well, it's basically because it's Rio and Gamboa, isn't it? Who everyone's really excited about, and I think they're just desperate to have a wonder kid.
Yeah,
yeah. To be fair, he's doing his part on that front. He looks fantastic.
Yeah,
he looks like a really great young player. But if you want me to read the actual tweet from the estimable Watch LFC Twitter account, who have got over 200,000 followers in the internet's town square, which is now X. The tweet is a video, a 50-second video of young Rio. It says, 10 perfect touches, all with his right foot while using his left to stabilise himself. You don't understand how perfectionist this is unless you've played to a certain level. It's truly next level.
I tell you what, you said Chelsea is a gift to the transfer window. Liverpool FC online fans are very much that too.
First reply. Which other leg would he use to stabilise himself?
Oh my goodness.
Can I read another reply?
Yeah, go on.
The reason this is crazy because usually players don't stabilise themselves with their standing foot. They typically jump on one leg. No wonder the slogan is "You never walk alone."
Yeah.
Nice.
Obviously, he's a very young, promising player. Moving on to, it's been removed from the running order, but it's definitely getting mentioned. I don't care what anybody says. David Luiz has joined Cypriot side Pafos. Come on, 38 years young. He just wants some hot, dry summers, no humidity for that hair. Lovely to see, Jim.
The hair is starting to. I mean, I don't want to hair shame,
right?
Because one other person on this show today may be facing the same problem. It's not for me to judge.
What?
David
Luiz's
always
been like this.
Hair is beating something of a retreat, which is a problem when you've kind of nailed so much of your identity around your hair.
Yeah.
It's much more noticeable, right? He's now becoming a man who might need to make a decision pretty quickly.
Right.
I noticed in some of in the photo for the club itself, the quote unquote deal done deal, whatever they say photo, he's wearing a kind of Stephen Van Zandt, Keith Richards type big bandana over the hairline. Which may tell its own story.
Could that be sort of covering up
a multitude of sins?
Multitude of wounds.
Large forehead.
He's doing what Jimi Hendrix did, putting loads of acid tabs in it.
Yes, yeah.
That would explain a lot, wouldn't it?
Yeah. The way he played the back end of his career. I mean, I would say that I would prefer the Steve Van Zandt headscarf and that unveiling to what we got at Galatasaray over the weekend. They've signed Victor Osimhen on a permanent deal from Napoli. In their announcement video, I mean, it has to be a ChatGPT penned screed, but it was a mask.
100%.
A mask doesn't just protect. Basically, the video is him on a boat in the it's a Bosphorus, isn't it? The river in.
It is.
And he
says.
You
want to go for checking though?
Thanks. A mask doesn't just protect. Sometimes it tells the story of a character. Sometimes the birth of a legend. Sometimes the soul of a city. I think a lot of people are saying that the VO is fake and it's AI. I think the VO is real, but I think the script is fake and it's made the VO sound fake. Does that make sense?
No, I think it's Jim. You coming on this, but I think it's an AI voice as well. I think the way that he pronounces Galatasaray.
Right.
No human being would ever pronounce it like that.
Is it not one of those kind of Trans World Sports International pronunciations?
It sounds like it's a bit like that.
I think it's trained on that sort of thing, but it sounds too clipped and it sounds unnatural. It's so easy to just pay a human being to do it. And sometimes a soul of the city, it's the most ironic thing for probably the most soulless piece of marketing guff we will see all summer. It's awful. Absolutely awful. It doesn't make any sense either. Like, it's just really overwrought,
done yet, Jim, and this
earnest
is football we're
nonsense.
talking about, mate.
I'm sure somebody will come up with some old AI slop sooner rather than later. All right, then, coming up after this, a Spurs fan bloody hates Harry Kane.
I would like to thank President Trump, with whom I have a great friendship, and to assure him that together we will make not only America great again, but also the entire world.
It's just good to see, isn't it?
He really sounds like Arnie.
Yeah, I thought it was him at first. That's weird, isn't it?
The first sentence. It sounds massively like Arnie.
He's probably training his voice on him.
That was Gianni Infantino, right?
Yeah, Gianni Infantino thanking President Trump for stealing a trophy and not really. In almost every scene, we spoke about it before, but almost every scene where a football or sports team enters the Oval Office, he just never seems to know what the hell's going on. So he probably just look at that trophy and sort of go, "What's this for again? I like it, it's golden, but probably know what it's for." In yesterday's mailbag, we discussed whether Kane and Son deserved statues after leaving Tottenham. Tottenham fan Callum got in touch. As Tottenham fans, we've come to realise that we loved Harry Kane more than he ever loved us, and it's shown in how he's barely mentioned us since leaving, including winning the cup. Son embodied what we were on the pitch and truly, deeply loved the club. Kane never really felt like he loved us. It's always Son over Kane from now on.
That's
now
a spicy meatball, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's a really
I
catchy one, that. I think that's really harsh from Callum, isn't it? I kind of always assumed that people loved Harry.
Yeah, and I also would wonder how often players talk about their former clubs while they're playing for their next club. I would imagine
that's a bit much. That's a bit kind of like, I never loved you anyway, and and the best thing I ever did was get kicked out by my wife. That's are you living in your car, Callum?
Well, thank you, Tottenham fan Callum, for getting in touch. After Luke said that Dutch cuisine is the worst in the world, and Yika got in touch. They said that Dutch herrings are great. They also have some pretty good cheese. Good point, actually. Yeah,
it's not a good point, is it? It's not a good point. Thank you for getting in touch, Anyuka. I'm sorry I said that. It sounds pretty harsh written in front of me like that, but the Dutch do not have some pretty good cheese. Name me one type of cheese that the Dutch make that's actually anything more than just a little, very mild, tepid load of nonsense. You've got Edam, Gouda, Leerdammer. They're the only ones I can think of, and none of those taste of anything.
No, I think they're quite solid. I think they're quite.
Have you ever tried to toast Edam on cheese on toast as well? Does not toast. Does not take heat very well.
Does not take heat.
Interesting.
Elsewhere, I mean, I don't know why this is in here. I'm fairly certain this has something to do with Lukey Moore. But Luke and Pete's moustache game is top tier, says Thomas on YouTube. Marcus and Jim need to get involved, so I feel I'm being lectured in football by people who look like they would send me to my death in the Great War. I'm considering.
That wasn't me. I didn't put that in there.
I know, but I think you're quite proud of how your moustache has gone, and you should be. It's a lovely moustache.
Yeah, we would all
I think Jim and Marcus should grow up and get one. Jim could definitely do one.
I've got one now. It's just got beard around it. It's a lot of maintenance, isn't it? If I were to do a sort of semi-Victor Gyökeres thing, just sort of see what that would look like. And we'd all have different colour ones, which would be quite good.
Yeah, I don't think there is a lot of upkeep. Do you spend your time sort of clipping it, applying wax
I've got some
to
scissors.
it?
I trim it with.
How many days does it take to trim?
I just trim it here and there, because I get some grey hairs coming into it, and it makes me look. I wouldn't mind having a grey moustache, but when you've got like individual grey hairs, it just looks a bit dirty. So I cut them.
Grizzling.
Oh, I can't really sort of speak on that. Well, let's move back away from the moustaches and towards the football once more, because this is the Football Ramble. Liverpool fans got a chance to see all four of their key new signings in action, both of their legs, together on Monday night as Liverpool played back-to-back friendly matches against Athletic Club. Both matches were held at Anfield, one after the other. Liverpool absolutely spanked the teams 4-1 and 3-2.
What a show of strength this is. This was like a Chinese military parade. Doing 2 in a row. Outrageous.
Is 3-2 a spanking? It's not, is it? 4-1 is.
I think off the back of a 4-1, I think it is another spanking. You've had 3 goals put past you there.
Yeah, fair. Well, the aforementioned Rio and Gamoa caught the attention. I think there is obviously plans to get him involved this season. The same way we were talking earlier in the week about Max Darwin at Arsenal. He seems to be another one that Arsenal might want to look at a little bit more closely this year as well in the first team. So, yeah, very exciting stuff for Liverpool. They've strengthened from a position of strength. I was writing this new column I started yesterday about Premier League title winners who fancies winning it, and Liverpool are really, really strong favourites again. Really strong for a 38-game season with a lot of variables. I backed them to win the Premier League last season at 7-1. And this season they're like 9-5. There's no value in it whatsoever.
Right.
And when you look at the players they're bringing in, and the young, in this case with young Ngamoa, the young player you've got coming through, I think they're going to be pretty formidable again this season if they can maintain that intensity and not have that kind of inner relaxation because they've won the league. Right. It's really hard to defend the Premier League, I think, and I think the statistics play that out for the most part. So that aside, I think they look really good.
I think the one area that's quite interesting and is highlighted by this game is that Virgil van Dijk missed the game through illness, and Joe Gomez is out as well. And obviously, we know Joe Gomez has had quite a lot of injury issues, so they do look a little bit light at centre half, which makes me think that if they can sell the players they're trying to sell, such as Chiesa, Elliott, Nunez, and if they do have a chunk of change left over, if they do manage to sign Isak, possibly they will be looking at Mark Gay as well, because I do think they might be a little bit light at centre back. That's the only. That
would be a big move. Look, I think those players you've listed there, Jim. Elliott needs to go somewhere where he can play every week, in my opinion. That'd be a massive bonus for his career and for his England prospects and his, just generally. I think that I get why they want to move Chiesa on. I'm sad that they do because I think he's a great player. I really like watching him play, and he hasn't had enough game time at all this season. It's not quite worked out for him. The romantic in me would love him to stay and make an impact, but I suspect that's probably quite fanciful. And Nunez is not, for the level they want to be at, just not reliable enough. So I kind of get that one.
Where are they in the Champions League sort of pecking orders, betting wise? Because I imagine they're probably quite high.
They'll be favourites, mate.
Yeah.
They'll be. I haven't checked. I might look at that at some point on anywinners.substack.com. But I think I'd be very, very surprised if they're not favourites for it, mate.
They've signed so well, and they look like they continue to be signing really well. In the clubs, the pack that are coming up from the Championship, Sunderland have given a new 3-year deal to manager Regis Le Bris after their promotion back to the Premier League. He got Sunderland obviously out of the Championship in his first season in charge of the club. I've been quite cruel about Sunderland's chances, much to presumed consternation of one Dave Cartledge of our parish. They have signed a lot of older footballers to try and get that sort of mean age up, but they almost need twice that amount of playerage coming into the side. It's amazing that they managed to sort of land Granit Xhaka, a real sort of statement of intent for a team coming up.
Yeah.
But they've just brought in Enzo Lefebvre on a permanent deal. He was on loan there last season, but because they got promoted, they've had the obligation to make that deal permanent. A lot of these players don't have Premier League experience, Luke, but do you still see Sunderland struggling hard?
We've talked a lot about what you've got to do if you want to give yourself a chance of staying in the Premier League, right? And it's either that you take your chances. Don't bother. I don't mean as in literally take your chances, but I mean as in you just kind of keep your powder dry.
Yeah.
Try and somehow shithouse your way to it, or you spend loads and loads of money, right? And Sunderland have spent well over 120 million, I think, already. I imagine they'll do some more. And then the challenge becomes getting those players to blend. And with Regis Le Bris, he's a guy who got Lorient relegated from Ligue 1, I think, and lost his job. He's not got a massive amount of experience, but I think the second tier guys, one of another Stack show who covers the Championship exclusively, have been pretty impressed with him, and the fact that he's delivered Premier League football back to Sunderland is an amazing achievement. And the club then giving him another deal to boost the confidence, so that you're our guy to back you, is a really big statement of intent as well. So I think Sunderland are putting their best foot forward here.
Yeah.
I wonder if they might surprise a few people. I'm probably leaning more towards the David Cartledge camp than I am the Pete Darson camp, not just for reasons of him being a much more handsome man, but just because I think I am more convinced by his arguments than I am yours at this point, Pete. But I mean, we have to live in the reality that says that, the teams who came out last year were nowhere near it. They were nowhere near it. And so there needs to be a big change there. It cuts quite a different feeling to say what's happening at Leeds, for example, because as soon as Leeds got promoted, there was talk they're going to fire the manager because he couldn't do it in the Premier League. So the fact that Sunderland backed him, I think, is really interesting. Xhaka, I agree, really big statement of intent. I like, as Jim was saying the other day, I like Simon Odingra as well. He's a good player. It's going to be a fascinating start to the season for them. If they can build some momentum and actually start okay, you never know. I'm getting quite positive vibes from them,
It feels a bit Nottingham Forest, the way they've acquired as many players who are kind of either free agents or like an amount of money. Jim?
Yeah, and they're also looking at Mark Guiu from Chelsea, who's a player who's obviously not played much for Chelsea, but has looked pretty good when he has. And obviously that they're a resource to use if you're a Premier League club looking to loan someone from there, as we've touched on already. I'm just trying to think of a way to mention Nicholas Jackson again. You know what? It's fine. He'll come up. But yeah, it's I think of the three coming up, they're the most intriguing, aren't they? Because of the volume of the signings, because the Xhaka one's interesting, and
they've been linked with Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well this week.
That very interesting. Yeah, I think all of the clubs are going to have to approach the Premier League very, very differently. I think in terms of how previous promoted clubs have, where I think that there used to be a sense that you could come up and if you've come up through swashbuckling, maybe you keep that style and you'll be okay. I think everybody knows you can't do that now. So it'll be very, very interesting to see how these new teams approach that.
Let me just come in and tell you something, just to expand on what I said earlier, because I really want to mention the fact that when I say if they can get a start and build some momentum, Sunderland's first 4 games in the Premier League this season, West Ham at home, Burnley away, Brentford at home, Crystal Palace away. Like, they are all winnable games. I'm not saying they'll win all of them. I'm not saying they even win any of them. But on paper, that is a start you'd be very happy with if you're Sunderland.
Yeah. And the fan base deserves it. They follow that team through thick and thin, and one of the best supports in the entire sort of football pyramid. All right, well, coming up after this, a man is bitten on his balls. Welcome back to the Football Ramble. I do not know why this story didn't lead the entire pack today on the Ramble, but former Barcelona forward Carles Perez has been injured after a dog attacked him and bit him on the balls. A dog attacked a man, bit him on the balls. He happens to be a footballer. Just great news for the Ramble all round, Jim.
It is. I mean, it's obviously horrific for him personally. I hope his knob or balls make a full recovery, but it is going to make it onto this show, isn't it? I think he was walking his dog. Yeah. Another dog attacked his dog and him, and unfortunately sank its teeth into his gonads, which is just what you're known for forevermore, isn't it?
Yeah, I like to think that when Carles Perez finally gets the news of the Football Ramble of taking the piss out of him for having his bollocks bitten by a dog, he just looks and goes, they're just doing their job.
It works. Yeah, exactly. I think if that happened to Mo Salah, it would be part of his legacy forever. It just would. I mean, this guy, this is the main thing now. This is the headline.
Listen, if you're not someone who knows Carles Perez's career that well, he only played, I think, just a handful of times for Barcelona and is now playing in Greece on loan from Celta Vigo. I mean, allow me to avail you of the personal life section on this Wikipedia page, which states the following. On the 27th of August 2020, he tested positive for COVID-19. In July 2025, he was admitted into hospital after being bitten in the genital area by a dog.
COVID related? Was it? Oh, maybe he'd had the jab and
one for the conspiracy theorists.
A dog to his testicles.
Yeah, the reason I won't be taking the COVID jab is not because I think Bill Gates has put a chip in it, but because it attracts dogs that will bite me on the nuts. You guys are both adjacent to dogs quite regularly. What's the worst dog-related injury you've had? Pete, I remember for a fact that your dog used to piss on your head in bed.
That's annoying.
I don't think it did piss on my head. I think he got his pissy willy on my head, which is
that's it. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Going for the sauce. But it's usually just when he decides to like run round a tree, run round my daughter, and I've got a kind of like and the actual the lead goes around the leg and burns like a big hole in your leg. And also when he is obsessed with a ball going underneath the sofa, you try and help him out by getting to his level, he gets incredibly excited and just starts clawing at your face because he's so excited about the ball. He wants the ball. The ball is his life.
Has he gone after your nuts?
He's not. I've never, in the same way you shouldn't cook bacon naked. You can't ever catch yourself going for a ball when you're completely Billy Bollocks. I mean, I would like to chuck a couple of strays to the writer Guillermo Rai's direction, if that's all right. In this piece in The Athletic about the testicle dog intervention, the actual title.
How many words did The Athletic get out of it?
It was, you know what, it was pretty sparse, to be honest. The three paragraphs, that's all you got. But it did say former Barcelona forward Carles Perez injured after being bitten by dog in genital area. Pathetic.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Grow up. Also, I'm looking forward to The Athletic's deep dive where they go to the village the dog grew up in.
Yeah.
And found
what made him do this?
What turned him to it? Yeah. What training he had?
Yeah.
Did he study under fucking Johan Cruyff?
Yeah. Why wasn't Michael Cox covering this? Anyway,
very good. That's nice.
Yeah,
that's nice, man.
I've also been bitten by a dog. It'll probably be surprising to nobody. My girlfriend and I were dog sitting on the Isle of Man, looking after a little Westie called Hugo. Later known as Fred Westie because of his behaviour by us, and another one called Gemma, who was a little like a pug mix, but like a pug with a normal face, which was quite weird. And another dog called Flo. There were loads of dogs everywhere, and Hugo went to bite Gemma. I'm trying to pull him off. He sinks his teeth into me by accident. Got to go to A&E. It's on the Isle of Man. You think that'd be quite easy. But it was the day of the TT race. So it's their one busy weekend of the whole year. A&E is packed. It was raining.
Packed
and there
with bleeding motorcycle riders.
Yeah, exactly. Packed with people with real injuries. Me with a dog bite. And my girlfriend had to stand in the rain because there was no space inside. So yeah, I've also been bitten by a deer and stung by a jellyfish.
It's quite mad how there's so many dogs on the Isle of Man because, of course, the Isle of Dogs is quite heavily populated with men.
Yeah.
So it's like a reversal.
Yeah. Well, it's man's best friend, isn't it? So
they should
make sense.
Little swap deal. Speaking of exposed genitals / bums, Ipswich defender Harry Clarke just got his bum out on the telly for some reason. Ashley Young was being interviewed. He's just signed for Ipswich inexplicably, but Harry Clarke decided to, in the background, in soft focus, just pull out his arse on Sky Sports like he'd never been seen on the television before.
Didn't he? I don't think he knew he had been filmed, did he? He was back to the camera and he was quite far away.
No,
he knew he was being filmed. He knew his bum was going to be seen by everyone.
I really don't think he was, because Harry Clarke is the same player who, on his debut last season, scored an own goal, conceded a penalty and got sent off. At one point,
Jonathan Woodgate hat-trick?
Yeah, very much so. At one point, Ipswich were 2-0 up before his interventions, and it was 2 yellows. And obviously, Brian Mbumo scored a 96-minute winner in that game. Now he's accidentally mooning the nation. I think we're witnessing the birth of a superstar here. This is as exciting to me as Lamine Yamal is.
I think so, yeah. Write a piece about it, I think. PSV have won the first Johan Cruyff Shield after beating Go Ahead Eagles in the Dutch equivalent of the Community Shield. Why we're talking about this is just basically what happened after the goal. Perisic fell over the advertising hoardings for PSV and accidentally sort of rubbed his face all over a journalist's laptop. It was
really
wonderful,
weird.
Such a good form.
He sort of goes arse over tit over the hoarding. Happens to sort of land his face almost completely, like he was trying to sort of do like a face. Like when you you're at the airport and you put your fingerprints down. Like
it was.
Sort of
it's like he's trying to do a request to Grok with his face.
Yes, exactly.
He's based on the keyboard for ages.
Yeah, it was so good. So it's worth. There's actually 2 angles on Reddit you can check out. So
it's more memorable than anything he did at Spurs.
No, completely agree. And finally, for now, Vermont Green and Ballard FC battled it out in the playoff final in USL League 2, a semi-professional league in America. Hey, why are we talking about the semi-professional league USL League 2? I hear you ask. Vermont Green won the match with a 92nd minute winner, and before the game they unveiled a tifo of Bernie Sanders, and it read, "Welcome to the Bernie Bow." I mean, it's a good sight. It's a massive tifo, and it looks incredibly janky, and I am a big fan of it.
Bernie also had a Che Guevara hat on in the tifo as well.
He did, yeah. Oh, did the BBC put it on? Did the BBC put it on in post?
I spent a lot of I spent quite a lot of time in the beautiful state of Vermont in northeastern USA, as my wife's uncle calls it, behind the maple curtain in Vermont, and I would very much like to go visit that club. They're a very interesting club. Like there's a lot to like about them. They've been pretty successful in their short time as a football club. I might head up there next time I go over to that part of the world. Yeah.
Please do. It's one of those places that, because, people, they land in Florida or New York, or, maybe they sort of head into like the Atlanta to go on elsewhere. I just think Vermont's not a place where people generally sort of visit from the UK. It's a bit of a gem, isn't it?
I only went there to visit. I've only ever been there to go to visit family, but it's absolutely beautiful. And they're Vermont Green are based in Burlington, which is a couple of hours north of where my wife's family lives. So, but the drive is just extraordinary, particularly in the autumn. It's so nice.
Yeah.
But Vermont Green have only been around for I think 3 or 4 years now, and I think they're either a completely net zero club or they're on the way to trying to be one. They're basically like the Forest Green Rovers of that part of the world, without having the annoying Dale Vince owning them. Or giving Duncan Ferguson the job, for example.
What's their green tea game like? That's the question. What is their
I imagine it's very strong.